Many of us already know the story of The Last Guardian's development. The dreaded development hell that games fall into, either never releasing, and oftentimes to our dismay, releasing far under expectations of a game with that much time put into it. Then there's The Last Guardian. Church here, and welcome to the Game Grinder. Today we'll be reviewing The Last Guardian. The Last Guardian was developed by the legendary Team Ico, led by series director and designer Fumito Ueda, now known as Gen Design, who previously developed the puzzle platformers Ico and Shadow of Colossus. Originally began development of the game in 2007. Its initial announcement was in 2009. Long periods went by without updates on the game, then randomly new screenshots would pop up, or gameplay trailers. Over the years, people began to lose faith and excitement as time went on. A large part of the gaming community had believed that the game would never be released and lost interest. Not this guy, of course. This game was re-announced in 2015 with a tentative release date, and The Last Guardian was released for the PlayStation 4 in December of 2016. The game opens with an image of a relic partially exposed in the ground. A shadow cast by a figure approaches and will wake within a ruin. As a young boy, we find ourselves in the presence of a chained mythical beast. Unaware of where we are, how we got there, and what this creature may be, we'll have to make best use of our wits and make our escape. If you are at all familiar with Ico or Shadow of the Colossus, and by that I mean actually played the games, then you'll have a good idea of some basic concepts to expect here within the latest Team Ico game. The Last Guardian truly takes the best elements of companionship and exploration from Ico and Shadow of the Colossus and brings them together for the next evolution of this style of game. For those not familiar, this is going to be a bit challenging for me to break it down, but I'm going to try my best here. Before going into the rest of the review, I'm going to start with a disclaimer of sorts. I've never been so adamant about the statement, this is a game that needs to be seen through to the end to truly appreciate what it is and the story it tells. Why might I say that? The Last Guardian is a game that doesn't tell an immersive story, it allows us to experience it. There is a story to be told here, what this ancient ruin is, who we are, what this griffin-like creature is, and what is its significance. Clues and information about these elements will be presented at key moments throughout the game, but the vast majority of the time we are experiencing this tale, and the payoff at the end is so rewarding. It completes the experience. The vast majority of the time we'll be playing this game with little dialogue, little direct story, and with little information. The entirety of the game will play as the boy, accompanied by the griffin-like, or what I've been jokingly summarizing as, the cat-dog-bird Trico. As the boy, we'll have the basic actions covered. Besides the standard movements, we can climb and hang, swim, and interact with various objects such as switches and levers, barrels of food, and other progression-aiding objects throughout the areas we visit. Absolutely everything we can directly interact with serves a purpose. Otherwise, it's us and the environments. Fumito Ueda and his team bring an interesting philosophy to their games. Design through subtraction, meaning make the most of less and immerse the player with as little as possible. If it doesn't pertain to the connection between the boy and Trico and the basic premise of the game, its purpose is not necessary. Piecing together the information we are presented with, key narrative moments, and the set-piece events we'll encounter are accompanied by the true focus of what takes place here, the bond between man and beast. It's not a spoiler to say that we help free Trico from its restraints at the start of the adventure. Then, from start to finish, we'll be accompanied by Trico. Trico is a big piece of why this game took so long to develop. Trico is the most real representation of an animal that can be a companion in video game form there has yet to be. If you've ever owned a dog or cat, then honestly you can know how this relationship might go. Of course, being a wild beast, at first it's incredibly untrusting and unwilling to cooperate. As we do things to benefit the beast, it'll warm up to us, and by the end is as strong of a virtual bond experienced from the third person as there could be. This truly is what the game is all about. So, along with Trico, we'll face this great challenge together. If you were to find yourself in a strange place, escape is the answer, but here, this will not be an easy feat to achieve. This is probably the other reason this game took so long to develop. When I say this area is one giant game level, I seriously mean it's one giant game level. It's not a sandbox where we can go anywhere we want, and that's mostly due to its design. Our path is mostly a linear one, with some side-off exploration to perform, but in no way is this a negative aspect. Remember, design through subtraction. As I mentioned before, the genre being a puzzle platformer, and puzzle platforming will do. Pretty much everything we see when outside is a place we'll probably spend some time making our way through, over, or around. It's really neat to see places we've bested previously from a vantage point later in our journey. Besides connecting corridors, nearly every location we find ourselves in is a puzzle. Not mind-bending algorithms to solve or color matching, but environmental. There is no easy route in sight, and once reaching a visible location, there seems to be one prominent location in particular, so why not make our way there? Each room will require us to figure out how to proceed to that route that may bring us closer to our goal. Within these massive ruins, we are fortunate to have the oversized companion to aid us, as well as us aiding it to free ourselves. Trico is essential in this, and we are essential to it. Trico does what Trico does, much like if we were accompanied by any other companion. It'll investigate the room by its own will, scratch at obstacles or objects, but allow us to use it to progress. Trico lets us climb onto it, either to reach higher locales, or for quicker movement as we push forward. As our bond grows, it'll become more and more likely to listen to us to move to a location, whether walking, climbing, and even swimming. This not only allows us to continue on, but we'll have to interact with objects that I mentioned before to open gates, drop bridges, and assist Trico as much as it can assist us. Trico will do the same for us when it can. This is a very mutual companionship. These ruins are dangerous, not only for its pitfalls, but its age. Ledges may collapse, bridges will fall, but there seems to be some other force present here. This place is ancient, and an ancient power still remains. We'll encounter other mythical constructs, armored warriors by appearance, that not only will attack Trico, but will try to abduct the boy as well. Not only will Trico fight these enemies, but we can assist in various ways not only in battle, but helping Trico recover by finding barrels of food and removing spears it's been stabbed with, and there will be other times when Trico will return the favor in kind. Now, as I said, though it's more discreet actively, there is a story to be told here. We'll be provided with big pieces of the story at certain times. A lot of the lore-adding information is provided by narration just like the previous games. When we awake as a boy, we'll be introduced to our driving narrator. These events we see are flashbacks of the story told by an older man, recalling this encounter from his youth. Throughout the game, the narrator will tell us interesting bits about the current experience. Not only this, but if we find ourselves stuck in a situation, unable to progress, after a short time, the narrator will chime in with a clue that not only enhances the story via narration, but a very engaging way to provide the player with a hint of what to do. I love this method of assistance. Regardless of summarizing the story or not, I'm absolutely serious that this one has to be experienced rather than told about. This is another game that I cannot recommend more, and I think it's best going into it with as little extra info as possible. I'm going as spoiler-free as I can with this one. On to its overall art design then. First off, let's talk a little bit more about Trico. As you can tell, it's incredibly well designed. I can't say I've ever seen better animated features on an in-game creature before. Besides Trico itself, there's some really neat things going on with it as time passes during the game. When injured by the mythical forces, we'll see blood-soaked feathers remain pretty consistent until Trico enters water and washes it away. Speaking of water, there's some pretty believable representations of what our wet cat dog bird friend would look like when wet. It also does the shake to dry itself off. The boy is designed pretty well also. His movements are very fluid and realistic from running, climbing, and even sometimes falling, though the ragdoll effects can look pretty hilarious at times. The areas themselves, within and outside of the ruins, are equally as detailed. I'll be honest, a lot of what we see kinda looks similar. These ruins were definitely designed with a theme in mind, and this carries throughout, but our greatest distinguishing feature from one room to the next is the layout. Though this similar look is throughout, there wasn't a single time where I felt bored examining the current area I found myself in. In fact, quite the opposite. Nearly every place I visited got a solid few moments of awe as I soaked everything in, not only looking for my next path, just breathing in the world I found myself so engaged in. I cannot express how incredibly impressive I was at the level design. Again, it's just so awesome to see those previous locations from a distance, or even a few times revisiting them due to unfortunate circumstances. Though I'm not familiar with the composer's previous works, I gotta assume this is Takashi Furukawa's finest work yet. For some strange reason, many times orchestral soundtracks don't stand out to me in significant ways over others, but there were many songs that really stuck with me, not just for their sheer scale, but definitely because of reoccurring situations where the specific themes were played to heighten not only the moods of these events, but the wonder of this world as well. This, The Last Guardian, is how a game with a 10-year development hell cycle should turn out when finally given to the world. Not only visually stunning, but engaging and near believable realism at times. I feel this game accomplishes exactly what it set out to do. We're put into a mysterious world under mysterious circumstances, and the only chance we have is with our companion Trico. Needless to say, Trico is the best part of the game, not just for the creature itself, but the experience of traversing the game world with it by our side. It's so rare to feel this sort of bond with a creature in a video game, not only for having the necessity of Trico to aid in our escape, but truly the companionship, and the care and concern that grows along the journey. Hopefully I'm doing this tale justice, because The Last Guardian is an absolutely amazing game. Impressive not only graphically and mechanically, but emotionally as well. As I've already said, if you do play this, I implore you to see it through to the end to truly appreciate everything this game is. Definitely one of the best games of 2016, if not the best. Thanks for checking out my review of The Last Guardian. What were your thoughts on the game? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked what you've seen or heard, please give the video a like, a share, and subscribe to see future videos. I'm on Twitter and Facebook as well, and I post a lot of other great game-related content there, and of course links are in the description. Until next time on the Game Grinder.